brawl I can do. Oh, I guess I should put that. Hello, I'm That James Guy, and this is my 2021.5 Mazda CX-5 GT Turbo, and today I'm going to review it. So about 6 months ago, me and my wife decided to get a small SUV. We had the BMW 328i xDrive, as you know, and you've seen in other videos perhaps, and it's at the end of all my videos, that car. We started looking at new BMWs, or well, slightly used BMWs, so X2s, X3s, and they were pretty good, but we weren't 100% sold, so we just kept looking around. Anyway, we pass a Mazda dealer and we look and decide, well, let's test drive the CX-5s. And so we did. And we were immediately sold. Like, even after driving an X2 and an X3, somehow, I can't explain it, this car just fits. It just feels right. Something about it. And so we ended up buying it. And here we are, 10,417 kilometers later. That's about 6,300 miles, 6,400 miles, give or take. And we still love it. So what I'm going to do is, well, I was going to do the 5 things I like most about it and the 5 things that I like less about it, but I couldn't fit it all down into 5 for the things I like about it. So what I'm going to do is, I think it's about 7. So number one is the powertrain and the engine transmission. I love how Mazda has really focused on making the internal combustion chamber a thing that lives on and works. And what I mean is, everyone else going electric, I think now they've realized they have to go electric, and they've launched kind of a stupid electric car that's not the greatest. But they've really invested in the technology in this. So it is a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and they've used a couple of little bits of secret technology that they've invented to kind of make it perform better than a turbocharged 4-cylinder should. One of those things is the turbocharger. It's not a variable geometry turbocharger. It's a dynamic pressure turbo. And what they do is they have a couple valves in, well, there's no exhaust manifold. It's kind of built into the cylinder head like a lot of the new engines. And there's a valve that closes off the whole exhaust port so that it forces all the exhaust through these tiny little holes. It's like pinching off a garden hose, so it sprays really far. I think at 1600 RPM and below this happens. So you get lots and lots and lots of torque at really low RPM. The other thing they do is a 4x3x2 kind of a manifoldy setup in the cylinder head. And the reason they do that, I guess, with the firing order of a 4-cylinder, when the first one fires and the shot of exhaust hits the turbo, the second one kind of, it sucks air through and pulls and helps scavenge intake better into the engine. And the other thing they've done is, this is a gas engine and it has an EGR cooler, and EGR coolers generally are reserved for diesel engines. But the reason they do this is because all these new turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, what happens is on the EPA test cycle, they work really well and get really good fuel efficiency. But the way most people drive is kind of with their foot down a little bit more. And with a turbocharged engine, the more you put your foot into it, the richer it has to make the mixture to kind of keep everything, the temperatures under control, and keep it from pre-detonation, or basically spontaneous combustion in the cylinders. And so these engines really don't have the greatest fuel economy. But what they do with cooled EGR, and the reason why it works, is because if you cool it down with coolant before you put the EGR back into the engine, you can actually dilute the air and keep the overall temperatures lower. What it allows is way more throttle and way more torque before the engine has to start enriching the mixture. So it can be at a relatively neutral, like 14.7 to 1, up to a much higher throttle percent than a normal engine. But what you get with all this is, it's a 4-cylinder, keep in mind, it has 310 foot-pounds of torque at 2,000 RPM, 228 horsepower at 5,000 RPM. This is with just 87 octane fuel. And the interesting thing is, if you opt for premium, if you put 91 in it, it'll actually give it an extra 23 horsepower. So it'll get 250 horsepower, same RPM, and an extra 10 pound-feet of torque. So it's kind of, you have your choice. You can be cheap and frugal putting around town, but if you want to have a bit more performance, let's say you want to hit the mountain roads or something like that, just fill it up with premium and it'll automatically have more power. The other thing is the 6-speed automatic, and I know Mazda gets a lot of grief because it's not an 8-speed. 8 speeds are the norm, 9-speed, 10-speed, whatever. But you know, when you have an engine that makes this much torque at this low of RPM, it really doesn't matter that there's only 6 speeds. And this is coming from the guy who drives a BMW with an 8-speed and a turbocharged 4-cylinder every day. This one does it better. I'm serious, it does it better. In the real world, what I've found is, I'll put up on the screen the fuel economy this thing gets. I've been averaging about 9, just over 10, kind of running around town, liters per 100 kilometers, and out on the highway, it'll get just over 8. So, you know, and with performance to boot, this thing is a lot of fun in the mountains. And you know what? Unlike my BMW, the engine kind of sounds dumb. It's not the greatest sounding engine. This thing actually sounds pretty good. Okay, here's the thing. 97% of the viewers of my videos are not even subscribed to my channel. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will owe you one. So the second thing that I like about this car, and these are in no particular order, by the way, is the lane keeping assist is very well calibrated. I'll say that much. It, you know, it doesn't, you barely notice it's there. It vibrates, it doesn't ding. It kind of nudges you back into the lane if you've crossed the line. It's not annoying. I've driven some cars, Toyota, that they're awful. You just want to turn it off and not even bother. Number 3 is the speed sign reading. This is something that I never would have thought that I would like. When I first started driving the car, it was like, is it a gimmick? Yeah, I love it. What it does is the camera on the front of the car reads speed signs as you go past them, so it doesn't rely on the GPS. It may memorize after a while if you run the same roads often, but as you pass the sign, the speed limit on your dashboard changes. So this is awesome for like construction zones when you start thinking, oh crap, did I miss a construction speed zone sign? It'll tell you on the dash what the last speed zone was. It's a really cool feature. Number 4 is the rear heated seats. This is not, you know, you think Audis and BMWs have rear heated seats, but this is a Mazda and it has rear heated seats. And my BMW doesn't even have that. That's a really cool feature. The kids love it. There's even some USB ports back there for them. It's just a little, kind of a little perk on top of an already good car. Number 5, the infotainment system. And Mazda does not use a touchscreen, and most people are giving them a hard time about it, but it takes some learning, takes a lot of learning, but once you're used to it, it's fine. So as a rental car, this would be horrible and people would hate it, but day to day, you get used to the menus, you get used to kind of flicking through and how it works. And it is true, it does keep your eyes on the road when you're using it. And the other part is the volume knob. Mazda's done this for a while. They put a volume knob down at the control, and so I find myself hardly ever using the volume control on the steering wheel because I'm using the one like where my arm is resting the whole time. Number 6 is overall styling. I think Mazda has done a very good job over the years on the CX-5, all their models. You can always tell this is a CX-5, and if you look at an old one way back in the day from 2013, when did they come out? A long time ago. You're like, yeah, that's a CX-5. It's just a slow evolution of design. It's not a, holy cow, did they ever change that thing, and now it's super ugly and it takes some getting used to. It's just, you always kind of know what they are, and it's just an incremental change. And that goes with the interior as well. Mazda, this is number 7. We're straight on to number 7. The interior is amazing. This is like Audi level quality, and that's what all the testers keep saying, but it's true. The attention to detail and the fit and finish and the stitching and this is a really nice place to be when you're driving a car. All right, we're moving on to the bad things right now, and by bad I don't mean it ruins the car. These are just kind of things that I'm going to be nitpicky here. Mazda's been building cars for 100 years. You'd think they'd be able to get every single thing right. That's what kind of annoys me a little bit, but that's okay. Number one, the adaptive cruise. So when you set the cruise control and it's got radar and it's, the car's up ahead of you, it seems to be afraid more than it needs to be. So it'll start slowing the car down long before it should. I know there's some vehicles that are calibrated really nicely with the adaptive cruise. This one, I even had one incident when it slammed the brakes on me. I was bringing the used engine home for my Fiesta, and it cranked the brakes, and I had the trailer behind because the car had just kind of was turning, was going to pull off, and it thought I was going to hit it, and so it's afraid. The second thing, this is number two, and again, it's because the car seems to be a bit afraid, is the cruise control in corners. So if I've got the cruise set for 110 kilometers per hour and I go through a pretty tight corner, but it's, it's spirited, we'll say, it pulls back the speed, but down to like 100k an hour. So it really slows the car down, and then as you straighten out, and obviously the yaw rate and all that stuff stops, then it speeds back up to your set speed. So it seems to be a little bit afraid, and it's a little bit too afraid for my liking. I just keep my foot on the throttle. That's my way to get past it on the accelerator pedal. And as it slows down, I just keep my foot into it and I just maintain the speed. But it's, as soon as I'm out of the corner, then it's fine again. Number three, the heated steering wheel. A little annoying. It warms up fast, it's lovely, but it only heats the 3 and 9 o'clock positions. Like the 10 and 2 up high, it doesn't even heat them. So you got this little area that gets warm and the rest of it isn't warm. Why? Number four is the heated seats. They're not bad, except they take like 3 years to warm up. So the steering wheel gets nice and warm in a very specific location, and then the heated seats take like 5-10 minutes to finally heat up. So that's a little bit annoying. Number five is the cup holders. This is like a super nitpicky, right? But the cup holders are kind of like far back and really kind of awkward. When you compare that to my BMW, it's just in a natural arm's length, pulled down from the steering wheel. Grab your cup, all good. But in this car, it's a little bit annoying. Number six is the touchless entry system. So where you don't pull the key out of your pocket, you just get into the car. There's a button on the handle, and it just takes, I know, this is nitpicky, but it takes that extra like second for you to push the button to unlock it, and when you get out of the car, to push the button to lock it. I don't even do that when I get out of the car anymore. I just go straight to open the door, get out, and hit the lock button right on the door, because it's a lot easier than hitting it on the door handle. My BMW, it's amazing. The touchless is like, it uses touch. There's no button. And so it's just so fast and so natural. You stick your hand on the handle, it opens. You touch it to lock it. It's very, very nice. But this one's not so good. So conclusion, you should buy one. Very happy with the car. It's been 6 months and a few kilometers. Like I said, the honeymoon phase has not worn off. It just fits. I don't know how to describe it. It's just such a nice, it's a great car to drive. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this review. I have an Instagram account that you should follow. It's that__James__guy, as you can see up here. Follow me. You get all sorts of extra things in between videos. And that's it for today. I hope you found this helpful, or at least mildly entertaining. I'll see you next time.